I am making a demo for my dream horror game called Lost, and today we're gonna make the first enemies called the Shadow Angels and also improve the graphics of the game. This is Devlog 2. Now in my last devlog I said this. Here's a comparison between my first prototype and what my game looks like now. Wait, why do they both look like shit? We need to change the graphics now, because despite the old saying, you can't judge a book by its cover, when you're talking about games, usually most people literally judge them by their cover. So I installed the post-processing plugin to my game and it went kinda like this. Do I want bloom? Of course I do. Depth of field? Sure. Ambient occlusion? Don't mind if I do. And let's enable all of this and see what happens. Wow, it looks great! Yep, I don't see any other issues whatsoever. Wait, what is this noise that I'm hearing? Now out of all of these, the one that made the most difference was for sure the ambient occlusion, which basically adds these black borders to the edges of the walls and objects. It's good because it adds an extra layer of depth to the scene and makes the game feel a lot more mysterious and moody. This is cool and all, but my game's house is currently as empty as my brain, so we need to do something about it. So something about it I did. Wait, I started grabbing some models online that I thought would fit the game and spent a week placing them around each room of the house. I want the environment itself to tell the story, so I was very cautious with every little detail that I added. This whole process made a huge difference on the ambience, cause now the place actually feels lived in, you know? Which is exactly what I wanted. I'm very happy with the results here. The graphics are almost perfect, but I still feel like there are a few things left, so I used Unity's particle system to make this dust effect inside the house, and I also made rain which should fall outside. Wait, so along with the rain, which is hopefully fixed by now, I also made it so that every few seconds thunder will fall outside and light up the night, as you can see in this clip. This will cause all the lights to go out temporarily, and since these lights are the only thing that recovers your health, well, you'll need to be careful when thunder strikes. Now I feel like the game is finally presentable. I can't do much better than this, honestly. Let's move on to the most interesting part, the action, which I didn't finish in my last devlog. I already had a good idea of what I wanted to do for the first enemies. I want them to be kids. Have you seen those things? They're like little devils, it's perfect for a horror game. To make the enemies, I followed this helpful tutorial on how to make a 3D model of a person in Blender, and made a few changes to fit my game's story. Then I removed the legs, and added a brain on the side of its head. Finally, I made this cool material based on DaVinci static, and we have our first enemy. Sadly, I had some trouble exporting all the materials to Unity, but after a few tries, they were finally ready. Next, I want to change the way the enemies work. Let's start with how they deal damage to the player. Before, I just had them deal damage if you touch them, but I want to make an actual attack this time around. So I made these goo particles that are going to be shot out of the enemies, and also this UI that will appear when you take damage. So if they attack you multiple times, the goo will cover more and more of the screen. Now I don't know how you guys feel about this goo, but I thought that this doesn't really fit in a horror game. It's a little bit cartoonish in my opinion. So I changed everything. Now, instead of goo, black smoke will appear and cover the edges of the screen. I think this looks much better. Also, this was technically the first time I had to scrap some work, and it feels weird not using something that I spent so much time on, but I guess it's just part of a game development process. You can't really use everything you make. Speaking about scrapping, I also got rid of one of the old scripts for the flashlight and made a new one. Let me tell you the differences. The old script worked by casting raycasts from time to time, and if the rays hit the enemy 3 times, he would die. The new one, however, is just a collider that detects if the enemy is inside it, and if it is, the enemy will start to light up until it dies. This is much more consistent than the old system, and it also has some story implications, so I think it's a nice replacement. I also changed the enemy's behavior, and I apparently made everything worse. I don't know what I did, I swear, I'm trying my best here. Let's just add it to the endless bug fixes list and move on for now. And finally, I added explosions! Woo, that was super fun! And with that, the action is also done. Now with all of these elements working together, I'll hopefully have a really good game for you guys to play, and not just a walking simulator like Rennie. So yeah, I think we can wrap up. To be honest, at the time of recording, I have the demo basically ready. I'm just fixing bugs and changing a few things. I could show you guys a lot more, but I'd rather finish this part first, cause I'm on a tight schedule and I really wanted the demo to release in April. Anyways, I'll put the link to the Steam page in the description when it's ready. So please, wish me luck and have a good day!